So now we've got a special session starting in Missouri on Monday, and that will be in part highlighted by the Chiefs and the Royals. Can they get the state funding done for these two teams to entice them to stay on the Missouri side of the state line? Patrick Tuohey is with the Show Me Institute, and he's on KCMO. He was on local TV. I saw a couple of clips of you last night. And you know what they called you, Patrick? They said, Budget Hawk, Patrick Tuohey.
Yeah, sometimes they'll ask me, and I never know tax skeptic or, what fits on a chyron, what's short.
Think tank guy, think tank bro.
Then maybe sometimes you got to explain to people what a think tank is. I mean, I don't envy their task of taking complicated issues and fitting it into a 1.5-minute segment.
That's why we've got a good solid 8 to 10 minutes with you here on KCMO.
That's right, a deep dive.
So we knew that this special session was going to come and get called by Governor Kehoe. But do you think that Missouri is basically blinking in this high-stakes poker game?
Well, I don't know what you mean by blinking, but I have heard, and again, I would never try to predict what the Missouri legislature does because they've disappointed me for 20 years now. But I am hearing that it's an uphill climb to pass this, that, kind of conservatives, moderates, left of center folks aren't eager to pass this. Now, I know it got reported out of the House quickly in half a day, but I think the Senate is not going to be an easy sell for these subsidies.
Well, blinking first, is Kehoe doing something that is not necessary by calling this special session? Is he basically taking the bait where the teams say June 30th is our deadline? Star bond offer is June 30th.
Yes. No, I think this move is debasing the people of Missouri, just like Kansas did. I think it is embarrassing to have an entire state legislature kind of scrape and grovel before an entertainment franchise to keep them. I don't like the look of it. I think Missouri and Kansas, frankly, should say, look, we are great places for you to invest. For Missouri, you can say you guys have already made lots of money for decades. This is a good market. Stay here. But we're not going to again, grovel. And that's what this is. It's just so unseemly.
There also seems to me to be a potential downside here where if it doesn't pass, and you're right, I'm hearing a lot of things from Jeff City where there are Republicans who are not going to be happy with this. Some Democrats are not going to go on board because they're still ticked off at Republicans over abortion issues. They don't want to play ball. So I think it'll look even worse if this doesn't get done during a special session than had they just said last week, hey, 2 weeks ago, didn't get done. We'll try again next year. Hopefully Jackson County and Clay County can get their act together, and then hopefully we can maybe be the final piece of the puzzle. I just think this has the potential to be a real black eye and look a lot worse for the Missouri legislature than it would have had they tried to do this during the normal session. What about you?
Well, I think the reason why they didn't want to do it in the normal session is they didn't want to have hearings. They don't want a long, drawn-out conversation.
Correct.
They don't want to listen to me up there running my mouth about how this is a bad idea. And so they tried to jam it in the last few days. It didn't go anywhere. So now they're going to have a special session, and now they've got to have that discussion. I don't know that it would be a black eye for the legislature necessarily, but certainly for Kehoe himself, who's going out of his way to call a special session for something. I don't know how often a special session fails to produce the thing that the governor called them into special session to do. So, he's got a lot of political capital on this. He'll be twisting a lot of arms, but no one's going to be surprised to learn what I think. I think this is a bad idea. I hope the legislature stands its ground, but, we'll find out in a few weeks' time.
You're right, though. I mean, you've got a runway here as a new governor. Anyone who's newly elected to office, same thing with the president. You've got a runway. You've got this honeymoon phase.
Right.
And a lot of that political capital is going on this issue. And for a guy that is probably going to be there for 8 years, he's putting a lot into this specific thing, which makes me wonder, does he know something that maybe we don't know about these teams' motivations?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't know anything. You listen to the type of things that he says. He's making the same tired arguments that we hear in Kansas City for years now, and that every market that has a sports team hears, which is, they're driving economic development, jobs, blah, blah, blah. None of it's true. Absolutely none of it is true. It's akin to arguing that if your favorite restaurant closes, you're going to starve. Of course you're not going to starve. You go to other restaurants. If one of your sports entertainment options goes away, you spend that entertainment money somewhere else. Mm-hmm. The research shows there's just no economic impact. Now, again, You can say we're proud to have it. You can say it's great for the community. That's wonderful. And if the governor and the legislature and all these people just said, look, we like having them here. Let's spend $2-3 billion to keep them. That's a fine argument. It's when they get into all these. I'm censoring myself. It's when
Don't
they get
worry,
into
we got a dump button here.
It's when they get into all these claims about how we're going to be better off for it. The teams are a tiny part of our gross domestic product. They employ a tiny fraction of a percentage of our workforce, and especially if our fear is that we're going to lose the teams because they move a few miles west, the regional impact is going to be zero. So it's a difficult argument for him to make. I hope it's not successful. But I keep waiting for the good argument that I haven't thought of to come out.
Well, Cindy O'Loughlin, Senate President, was on the show last hour. Patrick Tuohey is here right now in the Show Me Institute, joining us on KCMO. She basically said, and this is different from the Star Bond in the sense of they're not drawing a made-up district that then they take the additional tax revenues from to pay off the bonds. They're just saying tax revenues from the stadiums will basically then be allowed to pay off a percentage of the bonding that they do on behalf of upgrades and builds and things like that.
It would be nice to know what the teams were going to be building. It would be nice to know if we had, term sheet, if we had some sort of cost estimates, but we don't. We're offering them subsidies and we don't even know what they want yet. It's so backwards. And then the other thing I would say is that this vote allows the legislature. Basically, what you're saying is, okay, so what we're going to do, guys, is if we lose the teams, we will lose this $50 million a year in state tax revenue. So we're going to offer them a package that gives them that. So the legislature can say, well, either I vote no and we lose $50 million a year, or I vote yes and we lose $50 million a year. They should just vote no and I think call the Chiefs and Royals bluffs. I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't think the Star Bond offer from Kansas is enough for them to pick up and move.
Yeah. Do you think, though, that the argument or the offer is a better one potentially than the Star Bond offer? Not from a team perspective, from a taxpayer perspective.
No. Look, the idea that we're going to put a $50 million hole in the Missouri state budget to keep the teams means that, well, you live on the Kansas side, means that plenty of people on the Missouri side are going to have to pay to make up for that. We're going to have to, even if we never go to a game, we're going to be in effect subsidizing the Chiefs and the Royals because the state will have to make up that revenue somehow, and they're either going to spend less on important programs or they're going to raise our taxes to fill that hole. So, no, from taxpayers, for taxpayers, this is choose your loss. We're going to lose money. I was on with Kevin Keatsman last week, and he kept talking about what was good for Clark Hunt. Look, Clark Hunt's going to be fine, right? No matter what happens, he's going to make money. He's a bright guy. He's got bright people around him. I'm not worried about the Clark Hunts and the John Shermans. They're going to be fine. I'm worried about the taxpayers on both sides of state line because this is just a bad deal.
I think we're going to end up here if Missouri doesn't do anything. I think that Kansas will extend its Star Bond offer 1 year anyway.
Yes.
Why wouldn't they?
No, I think they will, and the team still won't move because the offer, the types of offers that teams can get from Missouri, whether it's the sales tax that Jackson County pays or whether it's the taxes that Quentin Lucas says he wants to increase to give to them, are a better inducement. They're not good deals. I'm not advocating for them.
Yeah.
But Missouri has a lot of horrible laws that allow us to give away taxpayer money in a lot of different ways. We can put together a better deal than Kansas can. So I think, what I think is going to happen is the legislature will fail to pass this. I'm not betting any money on this, but the legislature fails to pass this. Kansas extends it. The Royals and the Chiefs end up staying where they are because they are getting such a great deal right now at the Truman Sports Complex.
But we still don't even know where, especially the Royals, want to be and what they want to build.
No,
and that gets back to your point earlier of this thing is so ass backwards.
Thank you.
Nobody, this is like hiring, the handyman before you even started building your brand new home that you want to do construction on.
I tweeted out an image the other day. I made a meme, and it's just the Kehoe saying, all right, guys, what's it going to take? And they both respond, how much do you have? I get it. From their point of view, they're going to squeeze every dollar, every penny out of Jackson County, Kansas City, and Missouri taxpayers. I get it. That's what's good for them. And if they don't have to give us those details to get the money, they won't. I wouldn't either. If somebody said, I want you to work on my house, I'd say, well, here's the bill. I'm like, well, I don't know what you're going to do. Like, well, if you're going to pay the bill, I'll give you the bill.
Let's be honest, too, about this June 30 deadline. And I think John Sherman's a good man. I've had him on the show. I do think while, yes, you're right, he does want taxpayer involvement, I do think he wants to make sure this team is here for the long term. He's never threatened to go somewhere else. He hasn't done what other owners have done on that front. But they have blown past every one of their own deadlines for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Suddenly they're on a June 30th deadline. No, you're not.
No.
Call their bluff on the deadline nonsense. That is the biggest bunch of insulting BS that I've heard from anyone involved in the last 6 months. Suddenly you got a June 30th deadline. You don't even know where you want to be. How do you have a June 30th deadline?
If you had told me a year ago after the April 2 vote that it would be a year and a half and we still wouldn't have any details about what the Royals want, I wouldn't have believed you. In fact, I said at that debate that they're going to come right back to the table. I am amazed. And again, I know of people who are fans of a downtown ballpark who are frustrated because even they don't know what Sherman wants. And so, look, I'm sure there's a lot of exhaustion in the city, in the county, and in the state because all these guys, all these politicians want to play ball, but Sherman won't tell them what he wants. And that's hugely frustrating. And so, again, to get back to where we started, Kehoe's kind of staking his political capital to have taxpayers make the first move, make the first offer, while what we're being asked to support is still vague.
Very vague. I mean, it's not even vague. There's nothing.
Right.
There's nothing.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so frustrated because I think that good, smart people in Missouri and in Kansas are playing the fool. They're absolutely debasing themselves. They are embarrassing themselves by falling over backwards to support a team that, again, is a tiny fraction of the economy of the jobs in this area.
There are, I know, powerful people down in Jeff City in the legislature who are telling me they're Kehoe allies, but they're like, listen, we don't like how this is going.
No.
And we don't want to be played the fool, and we want to call their bluff. But if Kehoe uses enough political capital and equity on this, then, the deal may ultimately get done. So your prediction right now is that the special session leads to no deal for the Chiefs and the Royals.
Okay, so I don't want to make a prediction, but right now I am surprised that this is as weak as it is. Again, have been in Missouri 20 years. I am used to losing every time. I am used to being disappointed. I am guardedly allowing myself to be optimistic that this actually won't go anywhere because I think everybody can smell that this deal is no good. The question is, how much is Kehoe willing to give away on other things to get this deal?
Yeah. I'll take the other side of you, not because I want to, but just my prediction. I think they will get it done.
Again, that is completely reasonable, and history tells me that's exactly what's going to happen. But I'm hearing so many cracks and so many people, again, left, right, and center, who are skeptical of this.
You're right. I mean, it's not a partisan deal. Republicans, there's a portion of them that don't like it. Kind of the Freedom Caucus members, I guess you dub them, don't like it. A lot of Democrats just don't want to play ball with the Republicans, and they're going to have to get to 18 votes in the Senate out of 34 to get it done. So there'll have to be some arm twisting there, but we'll see. I think that simple majority is what will allow this thing to pass. Just got to get to 18.
And by the way, the cost is going to go up because the Cardinals are watching this saying, we want some too.
Absolutely. Patrick Tuohey, good to see you, man.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Patrick Tuohey with the Show Me Institute.